All right, guys, we're going to do something really fun now. Welcome to We'll Sleep When We're Dead. We are now going to try to intro our guests before we send you off, right? That's what we're doing right now?
Before we send them off into listening?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are going to do it. And I have to say, we start most podcasts just laughing at ourselves, which I think is a really good place to start. I will say, as much as I'm looking forward to this conversation, I just have to be honest that I'm also really excited because it is evening. It's late into the evening for us. I'm really into 2 TV shows right now. And I have not been into TV in months. I haven't had anything that I've been interested in watching.
Tell me it's
But
a
are we
love
watching
story.
Love Story?
Oh my gosh. All I want to do is smoke cigarettes and drink Diet Coke. Because I'm living in New York. Like,
I know. I
literally.
feel like you could pull it off.
All I want to do. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and I will never. But after watching this show, I did drink a lot of Diet Coke in my day. I'm like, I think it's my time.
Oh my gosh.
I can't get
and just
enough
wear like
of
a
it.
crisp white button down.
Oh my gosh. And be 5'11", not 4'11".
Yeah. Well, that would be a big change for you.
I'm so glad you said Love Story. I can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough. And I do think I started it late because I feel like I'm a little late to it.
Like I feel like
are
people
all of
on
them
social
out?
media,
I don't know.
Well, I feel like people on social media are like over the fact that people are talking about it, and I'm like, oh, I must be late to the party because I'm like,
I spent an entire hour 2 days ago in the morning, 4:30 a.m. Lest you forget, I texted you at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Fact checking it because I was awake and couldn't. It was a we'll sleep when we're dead morning is what I will call it. It was a 3:30 wake up when I was sweating. So I just assumed I had perimenopause. So then I immediately got up because it was thunderstorming, fact checked for like an hour. A lot of it's
texted
wrong,
me at
but
like
I'm
5:02.
texted you at 5 in the morning. Finally, like got my workout clothes on at 5:45 to go downstairs and work out, and Piper wakes up.
No.
I'm like, I've literally been awake for like 2 hours. I could have gotten that workout in like forever ago.
They know.
But I had to spend that time fact checking it because I'm just loving that show.
Oh, the whole time I watch it, I'm just Googling about the family.
Yeah.
The whole time.
What is it about them that is so fascinating? Is it just like the tragedy, the beauty? I don't know.
The beauty.
So anyways, as much as I'm into this podcast, that's my number one priority once we get off of here.
You got to get out of here. What's your other one?
Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Have you
we
been
talked
watching
about
that?
this too. Paradise is good. Yeah. My
mean,
anxiety is pretty high right now on all accounts, so Love Story has been perfect for
Yeah,
me.
Love Story's a little bit better. I went to bed with more anxiety after the most recent episode. So,
I have enough anxiety.
anyways, that's we're now TV critics for anyone wondering. For 2 people who literally watch maybe 25 minutes of TV a day ever,
night,
if we watch, that's our. Just call us Ebert and what were their names? Roger. What were their names?
We should never record this late. This is like 2 a.m. for us. Get us off of this podcast. Okay, let's talk about our guest. Oh my God. Okay, speaking
Ebert
of,
and Roper. Was that their
there
name?
we go.
I don't even know that that's right. I think one of them died.
I can barely watch movies. You think I'm reading about people watching movies? Another mom group texted me everybody about what books or what have you been reading lately, and my response was literally text messages. Like I don't have time to read books. I'm reading my text messages.
I'm reading text messages.
Yeah,
That's
that was
incredible. All right, so we have the giggles, and we'll pull it together in time to tell you that we have a super fun guest. On a topic. Do we tell the topic in this teaser? Now I'm curious. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell the topic.
You're gonna
but it's a
listen to it in
topic.
4 seconds.
It's a topic. I haven't even had a glass of wine, and that's how late it is right now. We're just giggly. A topic that we've been wanting to talk about for a long time. So that's, Sam, you tell us what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it's homeschooling, and I'm like, we're probably annoying to always be like, we could talk to that person for so much longer, but I feel like it was such a good conversation. But I actually now want part 2 of like, okay, let's start from 8 a.m. Like she gave such an amazing, and if you're curious, I'm like inspired by it to be like, it really, like anybody could homeschool after listening to her. That's how I feel. Like she made it feel like it's for everybody. No, not you.
I don't think it's for me, but I mean, you'll find out.
Approachable. It just was like very
it sounded approachable and flexible and fun and all the things. And also I was like stressed about not you'll know the things that I'm
yeah. You'll hear the Lucy in it. Anyway, Gretchen Trubee came on. It was wonderful. Talk about homeschooling.
So sweet to give us her time.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Amazing.
We would love to know your thoughts. And also, this was introduction from the pod, which is so great because we say who we want to have on, and we've been talking about a long time ago. We want to homeschool, we want a doctor, we want a this, and like, thank you to
we've had so many friends intro us to so many amazing people.
Yeah.
So we are.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy this convo and
let us know.
Have
your
a great
thoughts.
night. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to We'll Sleep When We're Dead. We are so excited. Sam, I feel like I always just jump into this part and never give you a chance to intro. Do you
Well,
want to
I also kind of feel like I've normalized that, so I just kind of sit back because I think it's annoying if we're constantly like, and I just am used to you doing it.
We've normalized my interjecting. All right. Well, in that vein, we are so excited. We have a new friend of the pod on today, Gretchen Trubee. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
We're so excited. And when we started thinking about this podcast over a year ago, Sam and I did a brain dump of all the topics we're like curious about and like so excited to unpack and understand better and have very qualified people on to talk about. And today was one of those original topics, and it's homeschooling.
Yeah.
And literally we could not be more excited about uncovering all of the things and just picking your brain. So we're so thrilled that you're here. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Yeah. Hit me with all your questions. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Well, Sam is the teacher of the mix and our stay-at-home mom. And I think as a teacher, you probably have the most questions as a jumping off point. So Sam, do you want to kind of jump in first?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm so excited to talk to you also because this podcast, I think it's interesting topic, but I actually don't think I've ever like off podcast as being a teacher. You don't like rub shoulders with a lot of homeschool moms, right? Because like I'm in the public school system and you guys are out doing your own thing. And so I'm like so interested also, not just from a mom point of view, but I'm also like interested as like the teacher point of view. But anyway, so I'm just like super excited to talk to you too about like the nitty gritty, but also like the bigger picture. And I just have to like start out by asking obviously how you got involved, but I am also curious, like what was your experience with homeschooling before you started? What kind of like gave you that itch? And then how did you decide to finally do it? I feel like I've met people who are like, I was homeschooled, therefore I will homeschool.
Right.
And then I also have met people that are just like, COVID, it happened. And then I've met people that were like, well, I had a kid that it didn't really work. So then I did it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like everybody has a pretty unique entry point into it. And I'm curious as a jumping off point there. And then Lucy, you can stop me if I get too detail oriented because truly I could talk about this. Okay.
I'll stop you. But yeah, I think starting with the journey would be amazing and just like kind of journey
like
into motherhood and how you got here would be awesome.
Yeah. You know, what's so funny about this question is I really was that mom, that person that said, I would never do this. Like never, never, never. I was super career driven, had a job ready for me when I was ready to graduate from college and was so excited to just grow and be this career woman and work for the rest of my life and, you know, retire young and whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's fast forward those several years, my experience with homeschooling growing up was these kids are kind of weird. Like homeschooling's weird. Like who would do that? So, I mean, you guys are the podcast where people say things out loud that you're not supposed to say, but that was true. And I think that was the stereotype is that they're not social or that, or just whatever it is, that they're not in society. And I really kind of fell into that kind of belief system. And who changed that completely for me was actually my older sister. So I come from a family of 5 girls. So I have 4 sisters. I'm number 2. Okay. And there's like the OG group and then there's the little group. So the 3 older ones.
That is such a sister thing.
Isn't it?
5 boys would never say that, but sisters, because I have 3 daughters, I can so see my girls being like, you're not original.
You're not. Yeah, exactly. So like we're the OGs, the older ones, a couple years apart, and then there's a 12-year age gap, 12, and then
Wow.
another 2-year age gap. So the littles, we
Oh
always
my
say that they were the
gosh.
twins with like a
Yeah.
2-year age gap. So, anyways, my
Gosh.
older sister went to EKU, studied forensic chemistry. I mean, brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. She met her husband there who grew up as a homeschooler. And so she had learned about it and was all about it. And we were like, what are you doing? Like, you're completely insane.
Mhm.
And she really took it and ran with it. And fast forward till now, they have 6 children. They live on a homestead in
Oh
Kentucky. She's
gosh.
homeschooled every single one of them from all the way up. The oldest is almost 19 now. And
Wow.
uh,
Wow.
she really just helped kind of soften my heart to it and
Yeah.
really open my mind to the concept, because I'm like, these kids are social. They're probably even more social than a lot of kids who go
Mhm.
to traditional school.
Yeah.
And I saw no lacking. I saw just nurturing
Mhm.
a wonderful family dynamic and flexibility and brilliance, and the ability to tailor their learnings to what their
Mhm.
gifts are. And so I felt really called to do it for a while. And it took a little bit of convincing on my husband's part, because he still kind of felt like, is this really like, is this for us?
Yeah.
And so like I said, I was career for almost 10 years. And it was during COVID
Mhm.
that when they came home and I started really seeing what they were learning. And while they were home, I was helping them. I'm like, we could probably do this, because at the
Yeah.
time
Mhm.
I was running a business from home. I had a couple different businesses going on, and because I'd left retail at that point. And I was like, why don't we just give this a shot? And so we
And
did.
how many kids did you have at that time, or
So
do
I
you
have
have?
two, yeah, I have
Okay.
2 children. They are 18 and a half months apart. So at the time, my daughter was when we went full blown homeschooling, I think they were in 3rd and 4th grade at
Okay.
the time. My son, 4th grade, my daughter, 3rd grade. And it really, what my sister told me, she was like, you're going to have hard days, but you need to remember that at the end of the day, if you were at least just there with them, you did enough. And that
Mhm.
is what got me through some of the hardest days, because when they're younger, it is harder. Like,
Yeah.
they need you differently at all different ages. And when
Mhm.
they're younger, they need a lot more hands on approach to
Mhm.
things. And my kids are very different learners. Like, my son is like my husband, engineering brain, math, remembers all of the things. My daughter is more like me, who loves literature, loves, speaking and writing, and they're just different. And so,
Yeah.
when you're able to kind of curate a curriculum for them, which took me years to finally figure that out. Like, I was so rigid in my own approach because all I knew was traditional school. And
Yeah.
so I thought, are they behind? Are they ahead? Are they where they need to be? And it's like, there's really no guideline to it.
Yeah.
And they can learn anywhere. And so it took me a couple years to figure that out. And some days it was like, it's not the day. It's not the day. We're packing up, we're going. We're going to go to the park, we're going to go to the store. We're going to go just do something else, cuz today it's not the
Mhm.
day. Maybe we're going to lay on the couch and watch some movies, because like their
Yeah.
brains were just not in it. So yeah, we've come a long way. And teenagers now, they're a lot more independent, but
Mhm.
yeah, my sister was the one that really, I mean, she was everything in this journey, everything.
What was the I'm already going off script.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
already
I would
going
love
off the
to. I'm
I'm
like,
like, I have
woo.
so many questions. I
Right.
want to go in. I'm curious, like, what was that adjustment like for the kids going from
Mm,
like such a structured environment in school to being home with you?
yeah. They absolutely loved it. It was
Yeah.
like, because they initially, it was like, well, let's wake up at a certain time in the morning, let's get our day started. And that was still where I felt like we have to put X amount of hours into school every single day. We have to get these subjects done, blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
as time went on, you have the permission. And I was kind of waiting for somebody to give me permission. It's like, do I have permission to like let them sleep and wake
Yeah.
up when they want to wake up, or to not have to sit at a table and do their work? Like, first child, second child. I mean, my oldest is sitting at the table all the time. The youngest is like backwards on a couch
Mhm.
reading
Mhm.
upside down. Like,
Yeah.
that is what we live, you know? And so one of the podcasts that actually helped me, it's called Homeschooling Made Simple. And Carol Joy Side is a genius in the homeschooling realm. And she was one of the ones that, like I said, kind of gave me permission to really make homeschooling something so unique to us. And that's what it should be to every family, because no two child learns the same. No two children learn the same. No two children have the same interests and the same gifts. And so that really opened the door very wide for me to start exploring other things out there, because even from when we started several years ago to now, there's so many more resources that are available and so many more families that have gotten involved and have made the switch. And, you know, for us, I've seen both sides, and we reevaluate every year. And when I say reevaluate, it's like, you want to do it again? Yep. When we move on, like, there's not really like a discussion, because I feel like I could threaten them to go back to school and it would be like a mutiny over here if I even like did that. But it's been, I mean, we've never been closer as a family, and the time that we've been able to spend together, and knowing that they're with me the vast majority of the time, and all of the other activities that they do, like, we're able to really be involved in that.
There's like everything you said, I have 16 different questions. So now I'm trying to figure out where to go to like make this fluid, because you said so many things. Because I want to talk about your boundaries as a mother. I want to talk about like the evolution, because I do think we're in like a really unique time for homeschooling. Because I also was like you, I had a cousin that was homeschooled and we were kind of like weirded out by it. And now I'm like a little jealous that people get to do it, but I can't do it because I do, though, because you talked about it a little bit, how your two kids are very different learners. I have three, and I'm like so surprised every day how three kids came from two of the same people. Like, I'm like blown away.
Yeah, right.
And so I have found that a lot of times the American system, like, I love it. I was a public school teacher. My kids are going to public school. They will. I'm a believer in it. But I have learned, especially with my children, that it is harder for some. And I think that that's like
100%.
and I think that's been really eye-opening for me. School worked so well for me. Clearly, I became a teacher. Like, I was like made for school. I loved
Were you
school.
a firstborn?
No, I'm a second-born. Isn't that kind of
Oh,
weird?
interesting.
I know. I have like a lot of mixed messages because I'm like very firstborn.
I love the
but then,
birth
like,
order stuff. So I'm like,
me too.
We
firstborn
love it,
girl,
Gretchen.
you are perfect for traditional school. Like, that's what Carol Joy Side would say. She's like, it's made for firstborn girls.
Yes. And it's funny because my older sister's a firstborn girl, and it's really funny how I don't know, we like flip flop, but I definitely know how to be the baby too. So, but anyway, I'm interested in the homeschooling. This is a bigger question. Like, do you feel like it fits? Like, you can really make it mold for every type of learning style? Or are there moments when you might, as a family who has multiple kids, say, you know what, actually that firstborn could go to school and I could only homeschool my second two or three? Like, do you see that mix as well in the communities that you're like, have you heard of kids being like, Mom, Dad, this like isn't for me?
I've got lots of friends in the homeschooling community, and it is that exact thing. So one of my really good friends, her oldest daughter was like, I really just want to go to high school. Like, cause she was in volleyball and playing sports where a lot of the girls went to school together. And she was like, let me just try it for a year. So, and they've got 4 kids. So, and she is in high school and she is loving it and she is thriving, and the rest are homeschooled. My kiddo, I think maybe sports or certain activities could have an influence on that 100%. I have another friend who homeschooled their boys, until 2 years ago, and one is a freshman and one's an 8th grader. They are now in public school, but they played lacrosse. And so all of these kids are in school together. And she was like, you know what? I feel like I've built a really solid foundation for them. So they know discernment and they know like certain things that you want to be aware of in any school for that matter. And so they're at school and they love it. My kiddos are tennis players. So tennis is a whole different breed of sport because it's a very individual sport. And so when they go to their tennis academy, it's like they've got all their buddies and they have their friends, but they're not necessarily like on a team. So, and they all go to all different schools. It's not just like one area. And so I think that there are, and it's not just sports, it could be anything for that matter, but I think that there are different influences or voices within whoever's community, good, bad, or the other, that absolutely can have some pull in that. And to your point, I think that it could be for some, it could be not. It is, for us, both of my kids, like I said, two totally different learners, and they love it. And, some of the other resources that are available to different kinds of learners, like I am not a math brain. Like, we learned that very quickly. And it took us a while to finally be like, okay, I am not the one to teach math ever. It's off limits. That's a boundary. You guys talk about boundaries. That is a boundary. And so my husband teaches it. So they'll call him, they'll FaceTime, they do their lessons with him, and easy breezy, done. And then I have a really good friend who was a teacher, and we hired her. We have a little homeschool group. She comes every Wednesday and does a government lesson and a science lab with
Oh, cool.
8 kids. And they absolutely love it. They do a Bible study on Tuesday nights. So it's like, they're always learning somewhere, but like that is considered school too. So that kind of helps break up the day too, because I don't, when they're reading or sitting at a desk, like it took me a long time to finally get to the point where I'm like, you know what? They're really not meant to sit in a chair for more than really maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, I'm not equipped to say, I can't even sit still for that long. You know what I mean? And so just like I said, having that flexibility and knowing that there's so many other options, co-ops, my goodness, there's so many co-ops. I didn't want the commitment of that. I wanted a lot of flexibility, but I have friends who love co-ops.
How does that work? Like, what's the structure of a co-op?
Yeah. So a co-op is you kind of merge with different families, and different moms might take a different subject. And so they might do like an hour there might be a mom who does math, and then a mom who does science, and then a mom who does government or art class, and then you just kind of pass the kids around, and everyone might have a day, or you might all meet for a field trip every week, or a nature walk, or whatever. And some are huge commitment and very, very organized. And some are, again, it's like, well, let's just try to meet up just to give moms a break and just let the kids play.
Gretchen, you listed all those subjects out, and I was like, I think I could lead the nature walk, but I don't know that there are any other subjects that I would be equipped to teach children.
I felt that too. I said that to my sister. I'm like, how on earth am I supposed to do this? Because like, I don't remember everything about American history. Like, I really had a lot of interest in like World War II, but like, I don't understand the Cold War. I don't understand, all of this stuff. And really what it came down to is my kids read a lot of books, like a lot of books. So it's not this rigid curriculum. We've done that before, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And to your point, I think that works for some families or some children for that matter. But for mine, we do a math curriculum, they play an instrument, they go to music lessons, they do a Bible study, they do the government and the science lab. So like that stuff's kind of outsourced,
Yeah.
Like that's easy. Math, my husband takes care of. Yeah. And everything else, they read. So they've got like a stack of like 5 different books, and it's like classical literature. So a book on, American history following an explorer. So that story is more ingrained in their mind versus just a textbook and a timeline, that can be incredibly boring. They've done like sketching before where you just get the book and they do it. And if they don't like it, then you don't have to do it anymore. Like that's totally up to you. I do believe that handwriting is a lost art. So they did learn how to do cursive, and I do make them write in cursive often. They do not love it, but sorry, you're going to do it anyway.
I love that you're doing that.
I think
it's
so funny
cool.
because they always want to know how to sign things, but then they don't want to learn cursive. And it's like, well, that's because it's cursive.
Right.
Okay, so going back to, because I do feel like this could be interesting for people that are like
I feel like it's like curious now, like Homeschool Curious is very,
Yeah.
like people are very intrigued by it. So you're like a mom, a listener, and you're like, gosh, I'm scared to take the plunge, but I really want to do it without getting like, because being a teacher, I can understand the curriculum search is exhausting and really hard.
Yes.
How, like, what would that leap of faith like look like of trusting it, like learning, figuring out? Do you recommend just like jumping in? How does that start? Like that for me would be the hardest part is like, how do I start? Because I can see what you're talking about as you're going down the road. You just have to trust the system. Like you see
Yes.
your kids learning, but to jumpstart that is like really, I would say, scary. And then the
Yes.
second part of that question, if you can remember back to your kids being young, how do you handle that? Like, what if they're like, I think you said this, but like, how do you trust it? Like, let's say they're just having a bad day. My kids fight all the time. And like in the middle of school, they're fighting and you're like, today's not the day. Like, how do you not be like, oh my gosh, the last 10 days were not the day? Like, what? Like, like, are we learning? Like, I don't know. How do you kind of balance that and make sure that it's still working, but know that like that is the joy of homeschooling that you can say like today is not the day. So that was kind of a two-part question.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're starting homeschooling, I don't know, it's almost like starting a business. And starting a business is like a big deal. And at least in my brain, I'm like, when I started it, it was like, we got to have the preparation, we got to have the curriculum, we got to do this, we got to do that, and it's like, but who am I answering to? And I didn't know that at the time, but I know that now, looking back on my old self, and I'm just like, who were you answering to? Like, there was no one. I wasn't under anyone's thumb. I wasn't under a microscope or
You are
anything
the
like that.
principal and the superintendent and the
Yeah.
teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that if I could go back and if I could talk to the old me, that is what I would continuously remind her of, is that there is no one who is here who is going to say, show me what you're doing and prove to me, at least not in Ohio. Like I know at least not in Ohio. A lot, like, states are different, but in Ohio, there's a lot of homeschooling freedom, which is wonderful. And sure, there are situations where parents take advantage of it and aren't educating their children. And I mean, that's like a fraction of the people who are in that community. But that would be the first thing, is to just kind of shake her and be like, quit it with the anxiety. You don't have to be so rigid in all of these subjects. They are learning, they're with you. And remember that anything that you're doing throughout the day, you can turn into learning. So if it's not the day, then what can it be? If it's not the day for school, what can it be the day for that you can disguise as not school? For example, go to the park, collect some leaves, like go to a museum, turn on a show on the History Channel that's appropriate for the child's age, or you could literally Google this stuff or Pinterest it and find different things that will just kind of break up the potential monotony that you may be feeling. And know that you may choose, because there's wonderful curriculums out there. Like we started with a Becca in the beginning, and then we moved to The Good and the Beautiful. Loved The Good and the Beautiful, but it was still kind of too long for what we wanted. But there's good stuff in there. And so you can change curriculums. You can change your mind. And that's what my sister continuously reminded me of, is she's like, that you don't have to do that for the whole school year. Like if the math curriculum's not working, find one that will. And I'm like, but we already started this one. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Like, I feel like, and so that was like really weird for me, because if I'm starting something, I feel like I have to finish it. And so it was like, I still felt, accountable to that in some way, from some mystery accountability thing. You know what I mean?
But Gretchen, I'm not that surprised about that, because I would say the way that you talked about your life pre-homeschooling was like hard charger, ambitious, driven. Like, I think when you are wired like that, no matter what career path, stay at home, whatever, it's really hard to retrain your brain to be like, I'm actually in control.
Right.
I like can
Yes.
decide what this journey and what this day looks like. So that's not that surprising to me, but I love hearing that because I almost think whether you are homeschooling or whether you are starting a business, if you're going from corporate America, I am on someone else's clock and dime
Right.
all day, to that. That's cool to think that you were able to work through that and get to a place where you now have the autonomy to be like, no, I got this. Like, I
Yeah.
know what my kids need. I just think it's a really cool journey that you laid out.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what it was for me. So I was, like I said, I was a store team leader for Target. I helped open an Apple store. I was a manager at Apple. I was being offered a promotion when I put in my notice. It was like, this is kind of crazy, but I really felt like I was being called to be home with my children. And even going home, originally, like I wasn't planning on homeschooling at that point. They were still going to go to school, and I was just going to run a business from home. So that was kind of where, so the whole journey to all of this, I mean, it was years to get to where we are now. And so, I mean, the word that comes to my mind is just like giving yourself grace. Like the grace is so important, because I think, to your point, Lucy, is it's like when you're wired a certain way and when you've lived a certain way for so long, whether it be, the discipline of sports and career or whatever, like, why would we think that we can turn that off in a couple days, or even in a year for that matter? And the same thing goes for us as a family when we are moving from a traditional school structure to being home and feeling like you are an accountable person, and you feel like you have to be like, who's gonna check on me? Like, who's gonna give me a gold star or like a raise for homeschooling my kids, and they're really polite and they can do all of these things. But that, that was a challenge for a while there too, is it's like, nobody's there really, like, sending out a company email saying how awesome you are. You know what I mean?
That achievement aspect would be, I'd be like, that's where I would be calling my mom and be like, this is what the kids did today, and these are all the things. I need someone to give me some encouragement.
Tell me how great I am.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Well, and you see that, there's some days, like, that's hard as a mom. And when you don't get that validation that you might be used to, and I most certainly was. And my husband has been so wonderful. He's like, obviously he gives me validation, but he's like, the other validation is seeing our children and how they treat others, how they look people in the eye, how they shake hands when people come back to us and say, gosh, your kids are so, like, well behaved, and they're not just staring at a phone all the time. They're like going up and talking to people and being engaging. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that can be so rich if you just, not just look for it, but when you see it and you just hold it really, really tight and remember that on the really hard days, even as teenagers. It's like, some days it's like, okay, it's not happening today. We're going to go find something else. Like, whatever, we're going to go find something else to do. But those are the things that can carry you forward. And you just have to continuously be open to that, give yourself grace, and know that those moments, there's so many of them. And write them down too. My goodness, like, keep a journal of it so you can just be like, I did this. Like, this is what they're doing now. And I'm really proud of myself,
I feel like that's been one of the hardest challenges of being a stay-at-home mom, because you worked until they were in 3rd and 4th grade, right? Is that what I'm hearing from you? Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it was before, let's see. It was like 2 years before that. It was before my son went to, kindergarten. I ended up home, and then started businesses at home, and so
I just feel like as a stay-at-home mom, that gratification doesn't exist, and people, especially this podcast has been really fun because we've been talking to people with older kids, and there are moments when I'm like, I have to wait until my child's 15 to realize what I'm doing. Like, is she gonna be she is horrible right now. Like, it is so hard. And also becoming a teacher. I was a teacher before this, and I have this one dear friend who I talk about a lot, and she was a teacher and now she's a stay-at-home mom. And we just joke that we like effed up because we like started off in teaching, which is nobody tells you you're doing a good job. You're only hearing from parents and people that you're not doing a good job. Every once in a while you get a kid who loves you, and it's the best.
It's one of the hardest jobs. and I've always felt that way. Like that is like a whole nother, that takes such a special person to be in that occupation for sure.
Right. And then to become a stay-at-home mom, and then people will say to me like, "Oh, you'd be so good at homeschool." I'm like, "I'm ruined. Like, I don't think that I could." Like, there's like no way. I'm sorry. Like, I am so envious. And I think that's why I'm so curious and intrigued. And like you say that, I think it's a special person because I just am like, I think I've just gotten ruined from the path because the gratification doesn't really exist for a long time.
Yeah,
and that's like a hard, because we
that's
live in
tough.
we live in such an instant gratification
My
world
goodness,
where,
don't we? Yeah.
yeah. So I can imagine that. It was a hard transition.
One of the things that I have a lot of friends do also is they'll do like a hybrid program.
Yeah.
So that's helped a lot of them too. Some of them, they've stuck with that the whole time. Some of them just do that and then the kids are home full time. So and here, there's lots of options for that. There's a really great school actually not far from here where you can put your kiddos in that like a couple classes a day. And then outside of that, they can read, like have them do reading at home, put them in a music class, like do a science lab with a few or whatever. Like that's what that can look like too, to where, again, they're not necessarily sitting in a classroom for 7-8 hours a day. They're just doing it for like a shortened span of time. And then they still have that flexibility to be home or to go. Like for my kids, like I said, they're at a tennis academy 3 hours a day. They've got a trainer too. So it's like if they were in traditional school, like they would not be able to do what they're doing now. And so that's what's been really cool. And anymore, at least again, in Ohio, there's options for kids to take certain classes in the morning and then they get dismissed early. If they don't need to do a study hall or a gym class or whatever, like they can like other things can substitute for that, which is really nice. So there's options for that too.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
Gretchen, one of the things that we talk about a lot on here, and you mentioned it earlier, is like boundaries, prioritizing yourself. You know, as a mom, it can often be really hard. And I think it's always so interesting for me because I do work full time that like my break and the easiest time of my day is working. Like it's just, it's, you know, I'm on calls all day, but it's like the energy drain and the mental drain of like trying to get kids out the door and fed and dressed. And this person is having a tantrum and this person doesn't want to wear these shoes. But once they're out the door, like then I'm, you know, I have this break where I'm prioritizing myself in a sense by working. You know, we talk about it. Sam doesn't have that. I mean, she's like here, there, and the other, walking around Brooklyn, taking this person to school, getting 1 hour to herself, and then dropping people back off. Like it's crazy. And so I think you are like even one step more like in the extreme where it's like you're momming and you're the teacher and you're all the things and your kids need you desperately. And so like, how do you set time for yourself? How do you prioritize like your own mental wellness? And like, I don't know. I'm just like curious, how have you thought about that? And maybe how has it evolved for you?
Yeah, that's when you say evolved, that is the best description of it because it's been different at every age for them because I had this like thought where, well, when they're a little bit older, they're not going to really need me. Well, yeah, they do. Teenagers need you completely differently than when they were, like I said, certain fourth grade, when
but
they're toddlers. Like
they don't need to sit in the bathroom while you go to the bathroom anymore, right?
Right.
Okay.
We're
Just
here asking the question,
yes.
hoping.
When you shut the door and you just need a breath and they're like,
Run?
hey!
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it has 100% evolved. Like where we are now, like I said, they are such independent learners with the exception of the math thing, you know, and then the labs that they take and different studies that they do. But I try to get my like physical activity in the morning because I also love playing tennis. I grew up playing every sport. I played soccer through college. So like if I don't have that, then it is not good for anybody. And I think it took us a while to figure that out where it's like, that is my me time. I need those endorphins to like fire. I need to sweat and I need to feel like I physically did something. And that is very therapeutic for me. So I tend to do that like early in the morning. And then, like I said, we are in the Dayton area, and the kiddos go to a tennis academy in Cincinnati, and so that is, a 35-minute drive or something like that. But I bring my work with me, and then they're there for 3 hours, and I just like put the pedal to the metal, and I just get my work done. And it's really kind of great how productive you can be in 3 hours when you're not bothered and you don't have distractions. And so I've got my little coffee shop route laid out where I'll kind of bop around from one to another. And then we come home, and, what's nice is we have the evening together, but sometimes I do still have to work. I do freelance marketing. I do a lot of social media content. I have my own brand and work with different partnerships. There are things that take quite a bit of brain space where it's not something that I can do in 10 minutes pockets of time. I need like 2 hours, or sometimes I need an entire day. My husband and I have been married 17 years, and I think it took us maybe 15 to finally realize that he's not a mind reader, and I have to ask and be very clear with the things that I need, because he doesn't always know that. God love him. And so I will be very forthright with that, where it's like, hey, on Saturday, I'm going to need like a 4-hour block of time to get A, B, and C done. Or tonight, can you handle dinner so I can get these things? And it's so the communication has to be there, and it's just the intentionality. I would be a monster lost on another planet if I did not have my calendar. Like everything that happens, I mean, I'm like a psycho about it, but everything that happens has to be in the calendar or it won't happen. And that includes my exercise time, that includes my work blocks, kid stuff, anything. Like it has to be in there. And that just really helps us too.
Yeah.
Because then I can kind of see, am I being a little too ridiculous? Like, do I really need those 12 hours of work, or do I maybe need like 4? Like I can just see it all color coded in front of me, and then you can maybe get some time back in your life too. Yeah. So it just kind of depends, but
husbands not mind readers. All right, I'm going to take that with me.
Yeah.
I like to
Heard that
believe that he
before.
I
is,
wish they
but-
were. I wish they were, but
Yeah.
They're not mind readers, but you would maybe wonder if they're like understand patterns. I don't know. That's also so not mind reading.
fair.
Do you remember back into those younger years? Like, was it a slow shift into, because I would imagine your kids needed you. They weren't doing 3-hour tennis when they were in 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. Was it a lot more hands-on for you? And then is it kind of just like a slow evolution of them doing a lot more?
Yeah. And I mean, when we say like teaching them, I mean, it's just what I learned is when they were in those ages, they just wanted me to be sitting in the same room.
Yeah.
Because they could read, they could go through like their literature or grammar lesson or whatever it was, and they could do their little art thing, or, some of these curriculums are so wonderful where you kill like 3 birds with one stone. It's like a geography lesson, and then they have to color in with watercolors of whatever it is. And so what I learned was that anytime I would leave and try to maybe work in another room or even go and do a chore, immediately someone needed me. And I'm like, okay, we've figured this out. We're going to just pause on whatever other house projects we have until the afternoon, because the school day would go so much faster if I just physically was like in their presence.
Yeah.
And then everything else was just much more calm. And so even if I was sitting there reading a book, or if I was answering emails, if I was just sitting there with them, sometimes that literally is all it is that can make the difference for your kids too. Yeah. So yes, hands-on, sure. But I guess it just depends on what areas of support they may need. But that's really what we found for ours.
Sam, we probably have time for one more question. Do you have anything else burning?
Okay. Well,
I know. I can't. This time has flown by. I can't get over it.
Oh man, yeah, it has. Just looked at the
I feel
clock.
like you did a good job about like advice, because I do feel like there's a lot of like, how like sober curious is a thing now? feel like Homeschool Curious is like, just because it's like school is so different now. I mean, even living in Brooklyn, it's so interesting where you're from and how you're raised is really just like obviously how you like look at the world. But now that I'm in Brooklyn, there are so many amazing different public high schools. I know families that have 2 or 3 kids in all different public high schools just because
Right.
they're like, well, one is more of an artist. And I'm like, I never thought you could do that.
One of the things I thought about too, one of the years they did a woodworking class. Like there's a
cool.
wood shop right by our house, and carpenters go in there, all kinds of different tools. And we went in there one day. My friend went in there one day and was like, "Do you do homeschooling classes?" They're like, "We never have, but we can."
Oh, that's
So
cool.
they
Yeah.
started a homeschooling class. I mean, my kids made the coolest stuff. They made little side tables. They made a pen. They made all kinds of things. Like, so that's
Yeah.
something else that you can do that, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It just is really, really neat. And there's Facebook groups too for your areas where there's tons of resources on there too. It's like, just be
Yeah.
resourceful. Like at the end of the day, be
Yeah.
resourceful.
Yeah.
Find people in your area that can help,
Yeah.
that'll just like take the anxiety off of you. And I mean, if you really feel like you need help, just like go to a park together and just give each other
I
a
love
break,
that. Because
Mhm.
that was going to be my last question, was just like, you kind of spoke to community in
Mhm.
kind of, you've weaved that through this
Yeah.
conversation, but for like, how important has community been for you in terms of this journey? Like, whether it's
Ugh.
people that you connect with daily or people that you get lessons from, I'm just like curious if you could kind of speak to that to close us out.
Well, it's so important because when you talk to people, no child is the same. And you have moms of multiple children. They're not all doing the same thing. Like I said, one may be going to a traditional school. One may be doing a hybrid. One may be like, you might have just a little who's following her around everywhere, and she takes him to the grocery store and he learns how to read prices and add things up. That's what was my husband. Like that's what he wanted to do. He would want to go to the grocery store and like do the math in his head as his mom would put things in the grocery cart. Like that's learning. So it's like if you can turn anything, you literally can turn anything into learning. I am even so smart that Fridays are cleaning day. And so my children clean the whole house and they earn commissions. So you want to do extra, you want to earn more, you can do a little bit extra. You can kind of like you benefit a lot from it too, you guys, when they get to that age.
That was like an interesting pro and con of like a pro versus a con. I mean, you've said so many pros, and that just like adds to the list. Like the
Oh, it's wonderful.
The flexibility is so, I think, intriguing, especially in this day and age when like we are given more flexibility with our lifestyle. And I just,
Yeah.
it's so intriguing as somebody that like there are days when I'm like fighting all 3 getting shoes and I'm like, it's not even worth it. And then find like Lucy said, like I should just like keep them home. It's raining today. I'll teach them. And then 2 hours into them at school, I'm like, what would I ever do without them in school? So the flexibility is huge.
Right.
Well, thank you. This was so enlightening and so fun to hear from you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
and for
so
coming
welcome,
on.
guys. Yeah,
It was
thank
so
you. It's
great
been a
to
pleasure.
meet you.
You too.
Yeah.